Life in the fast lane. Easy money. Crime pays. All central themes of organized crime. Fictional figures like Michael Corleone or Tony Soprano, as well as real-life mafiosi like John Gotti or Al Capone, are forever etched in the minds of as pop culture icons. America's love affair with the gangster dates back to the beginning of film, but to truly understand the allure, you must explore all types of organized crime organizations, such as the well-known Italian-American Mafia, the widespread Asian crime syndicates, and the African-American organized crime organizations, as well as the Hispanic organized crime organizations. When I say organized crime, what immediately comes to mind? Most people would say the Italian Mafia. Those involved in Italian organized crime don't call their organization the Mafia. That's a term popularized by the media. Widespread recognition of the Mafia has led to its use in a myriad of criminal organizations such as the Russian Mafia or the Jewish Mafia, but as well as non-criminal organizations such as the Irish Mafia, which was JFK's political team. Those involved, so-called men of honor, refer to what they have as La Cosa Nostra, or this thing of ours, or our thing. For most of the 20th century, there were 26 cities around the United States with Cosa Nostra families, but New York City has always been the hub of Italian organized crime. The 5 families got named by who was the boss at the time during the Genovese mafiosi Joseph Valachi's federal testimony in 1963. The dominant and most powerful force in the New York Mafia family is the Genovese family. They have interests across New York City, as well as New Jersey, Las Vegas, and parts of Massachusetts and Connecticut. This family's main area of operation are illegal gambling and racketeering. It was named after former boss Vito Genovese. The family is thought to have no fixed leader since 2005, when Vincent Gigante died, known as the Odd Father, because he faked insanity by wandering the streets in a bathrobe. Pictured here, Vito Genovese and the Odd Father, Vincent the Chin Gigante. Definitely the most popular crime family are the Gambinos. Here is the Teflon Don John Gotti during his heyday, and this is the last known picture of him before he died in prison in, I believe, 2002 of throat cancer. The Gambino crime family started to operate from New York to California and was once thought to be the most powerful crime family in America. Albert Anastasia, the founder of Murder Inc., was the boss until Carlo Gambino had him murdered in 1957 and took power. Carlo Gambino was boss until 1976 when he stepped down due to ill health. He never served a day of jail time and is considered to be the best boss of the family. During his tenure, he made the family the most profitable in the city. He named Paul Castellano, his brother-in-law, his successor, which didn't sit well with John Gotti, a captain at the time. Gotti organized his murder and was almost murdered himself because of it, and became the boss of the crime family and named Sammy Gravano his underboss. Gotti went to jail in Marion Penitentiary in Illinois and eventually, as I said, died of throat cancer. The Lucchese family, their expertise was the garment industry. They worked closely with the Gambinos and had a great working relationship with them. The movie Goodfellas was about Henry Hill and his affiliation with the Lucchese family. 3 prominent figures, the acting boss, the underboss, and captain, became FBI informants in the 90s. Here are the real Goodfellas. Henry Hill, played by Ray Liotta, Jimmy the Gent Conway, played by Robert De Niro, and Tommy DeSimone, played by Joe Pesci. When people think mafia, one name normally comes to mind: Al Capone. Chicago's mob was nicknamed the Outfit and was made famous by Capone. He orchestrated the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, in which he had several of his rivals executed in a garage on Valentine's Day. They have ties to organized crime in Iowa, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Nebraska, San Diego, and Milwaukee. Oh, excuse me. Here, we have Al Capone. There are also Asian organized crime elements. Most famous are the Japanese Yakuza and the Chinese Triads. The Yakuza have a strict code of conduct and an organized nature. I'm sure you've heard of numerous members committing suicide because of disrespect or cutting off fingers. Prevalent in Japanese media and they operate independently with an estimated 102,400 members worldwide. Three most famous are the Yamaguchi Gumi, the Sumiyoshi Kai, and the Inigawa Kai. China has its own brand of organized crime with the triads. One of the largest is the 14K group, which started with just 14 members, and the Wo group. Organized crime was also prevalent in the African American community. In the 20s and 30s, Harlem, New York was the hub of black organized crime. La Cosa Nostra wanted to take advantage of the money being exchanged in Harlem and attempted to move in on the numbers racket there. Here, we have Stephanie St. Clair and Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson, her chief enforcer. Stephanie St. Clair and her chief enforcer, Bumpy Johnson, stood up to La Cosa Nostra, but were eventually overran, and Bumpy became an enforcer for the Five Families. The movie Hoodlum was based on them. Here we have Frank Lucas. In the late 60s and 70s, Frank Lucas came into power with his Blue Magic brand of heroin. He was the first to cut out the middleman and started what came to be known as the Coffin Connection, where he would ship his product in the coffins of dead soldiers returning from Vietnam. He claimed to have made $1 million a day from selling his heroin in Harlem. He was originally sentenced to 70 years in prison, but assisted police in over 100 drug-related convictions and was released into the Witness Protection Program. The 2007 film American Gangster was based on him. Lastly, I'd like to talk about Hispanic organized crime, specifically La M, Spanish for the M. They have operated since the 70s and originally started as a prison gang. They partake in the drug trafficking, extortion, and murder. In prison, they contract the Aryan Brotherhood to do their murder since they share a common enemy. On the streets, they have used community outreach programs to fund their enterprise. Joe Pegleg Morgan was a high-ranking official in the Mexican Mafia, although he is not Hispanic. The movie American Me portrays Laime. In summary, organized crime isn't just limited to La Cosa Nostra. America hasn't gotten over its love affair with crime and the criminal, but hopefully we don't let that lead our children down the wrong path. Hopefully being more knowledgeable about the realities of organized crime will help end that attraction.